Octonauts, let's do this.
Well, we're learning about verbs, and of course you would probably know them as doing words. Yeah, verbs are so much more than doing words. Verbs show different processes like doing, feeling, being, thinking, having, saying, and relating. And when you think of those processes, the verb is anchored in time. So it's always going to tell you when it was done, and this is called tense. So Captain Barnacles played the accordion. He might have done it yesterday, he might have done it 5 minutes ago, but it's in the past, and it's called past tense. Or Captain Barnacles is laughing. He's doing it right now. I can see him up there doing it. Here we are again with the return of the word spy. Let's find out a little bit more about verbs. While you're listening to the video, can you write down the verbs that you hear in the video? And there's a place for this on the worksheet that you have. Verbs. So what else do you need to get meaning on the stage? Well, you could definitely use a verb. Verbs are sometimes called doing words because they're hard at work doing something. Look what the verbs eat, jump and paddle are doing to help this ferret, a noun, have a much more exciting life. The ferret ate a peanut, jumped into a canoe and paddled with his tail all the way to Brazil. That's what I call action. Verbs are sometimes being words as well, like grow or become. For example, my best friend is a gorilla and he grows bigger every year. Sometimes verbs are thinking words, words to do with what goes on inside your brain, like wish or hope. For example, my mum believes in Santa Claus. I wonder if you can think of some more thinking words. Okay, so you've been writing down the verbs that you heard. You might want to listen to the video again. Can you get more than 10 verbs? Now, what use are verbs if you can't generate them? It's very important that you choose the correct verb for what you're describing. If I say that this gorgeous magpie here stood on a vine and hummed, it doesn't give you a picture of what his beautiful song might sound like. So you must be careful which verb you choose and make sure it's accurate and descriptive of what he's actually doing. Now I want you to pretend you are the magpie or a race car and make a list of all the things you can do. Now this list can be written on the worksheet that you have. That's right, you are being this verb generator. No, this is not a diamond generator, it's a verb generator. Now continuing with our Minecraft theme, we're going to be a verb crafter. What use are verbs to you if you can't use them? Now this gorgeous spider, I wonder if you know where he's from the minuscule videos. We need to generate some verbs about this spider. Are you going to say that he's hanging around or that he's woven a web? Maybe he's waiting for some flies. The spider can weave a web. He is waiting for flies. He sucked out their juices for lunch. That's a bit disgusting. I'd like you to think of 3 sentences about this spider. They need to be different. They're my ones. Surprise, surprise. Time for a joke. Doctor, doctor, sometimes I don't know if I'm a wigwam or if I'm a teepee. Don't worry, mister. You're 2 tents. Get it? A wigwam and a teepee? Ha, 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 ha. This is what I really mean. Tense is when the verb happens. Now, there are present tense verbs that are happening now, like I am eating sushi. Yeah. There's past tense verbs that have happened. It has happened already. Like Shane, probably worn, played cricket for Australia. He played in the past. The future tense means it is going to happen. They will dance on Saturday. And this one actually has an auxiliary verb here, helping it to know that it's in the future. Here's an auxiliary verb as well, a helping verb that helps put the tense into the verb. Now, it's not just the helping verbs that tell us, but also this suffix. Usually at the end, the present tense verbs have ing. I am sleeping. I am talking. These things are happening now and they end in ing. It's called the present participle, which is a tricky way of saying if you want to do the present tense, you usually add ing. Now, how about if you want to make it happen or describe something that happened in the past? He washed his car. I slept. These are things that happened either yesterday or just a few minutes ago, but they happened in the past. And you usually end with an ed or a t, like in slept. This is called the past participle, and it helps us describe past tense. Here we have the future tense verbs. I will wash, I shall sleep. These things are going to happen in the future, and that's how we know they are future tense verbs. Some verbs are irregular, just like some people are irregular. These irregular verbs change their spelling to show the tense, so they don't follow the usual spelling patterns of ing or ed. These are the oldest verbs in our language, like ring. I ring the bell right now. I rang it yesterday, or the bell has been rung. It has been done in the past again. I do something right now. I did something yesterday, and now it is done. It is complete. Again, these are in the past. I swim right now, or I am swimming. I swam yesterday, and I swum in the past. The race has been swum. To turn these into future tense, you need to add an auxiliary verb. I will ring the bell. I will swim. Time for the next activity. These verbs here are all written in the present tense. I help you out right now. I eat my sandwich right now. You need to change them into the past tense and write them down on the column on the worksheet. I'm going to help you with the first one. I help someone now. I helped them yesterday. I eat my sandwich right now, but I ate my breakfast cereal this morning. So as I go down the list, I'm going to have 8 past tense words to write in that column. Press pause so you've got time to do it before the next slide comes on. Okay, time for the present tense. If I look at this list, unfortunately they are not in the present tense. They are in the past tense. So I'm going to need to change each of these words into the present tense to write them in the column for present tense on the worksheet. Press pause so that you've got time to do it before the next activity is explained. Something a little bit different for the future tense verbs. I am writing is actually happening right now, so we need to change it into a future tense. I will write. That's correct. So that's what you will need to write in the list for future tense verbs. They are singing. If I need to make it into the future, they shall, what will it be in the future? They will sing. So that's what you would write in the list. So I'd like you to do that for each of these. So there will be 8 future tense verbs in the column. Press pause so you've got time to do it. Contractions. When we did our pre-test, most of you Year 5 people were very good at your contractions. I thought you'd enjoy this picture of the shrink ray in Despicable Me, where he shrinks the elephant. Now, we're not working with elephants, but we do shrink he will to make heel, and she is to she's. They are becomes there, and we would becomes we'd. Now, many pronouns and verbs are written as contractions. They're smaller to write and say, and they help the flow of your work. We use an apostrophe, that's this little guy, to join them together. That indicates that we've taken out some letters. While we're on this screen, I just wanted to talk to you about there. They are, in this case. There are 2 other words for there. There is a place. And there, if it's theirs, it's about people. Please don't get these mixed up. There is the place, theirs is the people. I often remember it because it's got an I in it. And to me, an I looks like a person, and that's how I remember that version of there is about people. And this one has the apostrophe in it. So I remember it's actually they are. And that helps me when I'm writing a sentence to choose the correct version. Okay, I might be having a little bit too much fun with my kids' toys, but the octonauts are very active people. There are some words that can work as both nouns and verbs, and they're called gerunds. I wish one of the octonauts was called Jerry. Here's the activity I'd like you to do. The answers go on the worksheet under the topic of gerunds. I'll do the first one with you. I will water my new pot plant. Well, the thing that I'm doing in that sentence is the watering. So I'm going to call that a verb. And my new pot plant is something I could touch. So that's a noun. That's a thing. Press pause. I'll set up the answers for you while you are thinking them out for yourself. Make sure that you do your own thinking to build your brain. And there you go, there's the answers. I think the one most people will struggle with is C. Ella went for a swim. Well, in this one, went is the verb. That's what she's doing. She went for a swim. So swim is a noun, and she went for a walk. So that's a noun. All right, if you've got this far, you are doing a fantastic job, and you must be a verb wizard. It's time to be a verb-conscious writer and show me your level of mastery. Show me your skills. Now, I would like you to choose verbs that are colourful and precise and expressive. And I'm going to say that to make conversation between two people, maybe they're two octonauts, and the word said is banned. You are not allowed to use it in this conversation. There are so many other words for said. You might grumble. You might whisper. There are so many different things that you could use instead of said, and I've written some of them on the sheet to give you some inspiration. But I would love if your brain was sparking off lots of ideas like this picture, and that you were showing me just how many ideas you can have.